Welcome back to What the Podcast. I'm Ryan.
I'm John.
And together we are
Ryan and John.
on the couch, as always, producer Kara Tafoya and the lovely Annie Scoveman coming to you live from San Diego, California.
I have 4 letters in Wordle right now.
Kara's playing Wordle.
We both are.
So am I. So am
Same.
I.
I have
Annie's playing
2
Wordle
letters
too.
that are right and 2 that are in
I
the
have-
wrong positions.
I have one that's in the wrong position and 2 that are right.
Okay.
For those of you listening at home, we have been absolutely obsessed with Wordle since we started talking about it on the show. We play it every day. We share our scores.
Yeah.
Who do you think has the best scores out of the team?
I'm so close.
Okay.
Sorry.
Cutting
I
that-
would say honestly,
Cutting that as a
I'm sorry.
soundbite.
Okay.
I would say probably, honestly, I would say probably Kara. Kara probably has the best scores.
Really?
Yeah.
I have gotten it in 2. Has anyone gotten it in 1?
I
No.
know, but it
I
is
think
my
I've
goal
only
in
gotten it in
life.
3. That's
I
probably
got
my
it in
best.
2 that one time.
On the day that it
Got
was...
it, baby.
Wow.
Gosh, dang it.
Wow, I
She
do
really
you.
cuts through on that, huh?
On the day that it was brine,
Yes.
I just guessed it on the second attempt.
Yeah,
That's
how dare
right.
you.
That's right. Good guess.
Pretty exciting.
My thing is I've gotten 2 times. I've gotten 3
Okay.
6 times, 4
We're
11
gonna go
times,
through our stats
5
now?
9 and 6 4. Not bad. And my max streak is 9.
Here's my problem. Is I get done with it. I'm like, forget it. This means nothing.
If I don't get
this
it-
isn't my wealth. Who cares?
This isn't my wealth.
I will
She
try again.
says.
Dang.
Love.
Hey, Kara, you want to just tell me what the word is?
No. It's not that hard.
Can I guess it?
Yeah. What is it?
It's a show. Here, I'll give you a hint.
Steak.
Do you want to give me a hint or are you going to play?
S-T-E-A-K.
Are you going to play?
Give me a hint. Give me a hint.
It was a show on TLC.
Oh, I got you. Hoarders Buried Alive.
Is it hoarders?
It's Hoard.
Horde, I got it before you said it out loud.
You're so
Yeah,
stupid.
right.
Wow, so John's gotten it on 1 attempt.
Pretty good.
You know, there was some... moving along here. There was some
sense.
controversy
I've heard.
About Wordle?
around that song I played for the intro, which is
Dua Lipa.
Dua Lipa, Levitating.
I have not heard. Oh, wait.
You heard about
Was
this?
it rappers?
The controversy was a reggae band
Reggae.
has come out and said that in 2017 they released a song called All Day, All Night, something like that. And the chorus goes, all day, all night, party to the sunlight. Dun, dun,
I've heard that song.
dun, 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 dun. And Dua Lipa's goes, it's something like that.
It's
I
the same
want
thing.
you.
I need you all night. One dance with me.
Yeah.
She
right?
even says all night.
Now, this is crazy that they would come forward with this because I watched a video about it today. Both songs kind of rip off Outkast, which is
Hey, y'all.
Hey Ya. Outkast has this song that sounds similar to both.
Yeah.
So it's just, it's just one of those frivolous things. It's not going to happen for the reggae band, but
You don't think
no.
so?
No way.
No,
it's different,
Dua
though.
Lipa's
I-
too big.
I
and
think
against
it's-
people.
It's
Well, you were on
definitely-
the side of.
it's a case-by-case situation,
Well, I'm
I
saying the
think.
last case we talked about, you were on the
I
side.
don't remember which
of-
one we did.
It was Olivia Rodrigo and
Yes, Paramore.
Paramore. You were
Paramore.
on Paramore's side that time.
But it's Paramore. That's big. Like a small reggae. Not that to say that they were small. I don't even know who they were. But like I definitely have heard that song. But to say like
Paramore's is like millions of
yeah,
people know.
they
thing
they
of-
have sold like they're multi-platinum and some reggae band that
That's
did a
kind
similar
of the thing
It's like,
about like winning a lawsuit like this is you have to establish without a doubt that Dua Lipa heard the song from the reggae band before she wrote it. And it's like if you look at
Oh.
this band, it's like kind of a nothing band from
That's
Miami.
interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like kind of the thing, like without a reasonable doubt that now if you like we said, Paramore, platinum selling band, big song like Misery Business, it's like you can obviously be like, okay, well, her producers, Olivia Rodrigo's that is, probably heard the song before.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a good distinction. I didn't know that was part of the process. I thought it was just like, if you were close to it, you lost.
Because we kind of, like I said, we addressed it last time we talked about this. Nobody's in a vacuum, right? Nobody just so unless you truly hadn't heard the song before, then it could be like, well, yeah, you maybe heard the song and you were inspired by it, even subliminally. It's like, well, now you gotta pay dues.
I don't
on
envy
that.
people who
Yeah.
write music for a living. That sounds pretty hard to distinguish, you know? I usually think about what like would be the best way to write new music, like by totally cleansing yourself of everything for like a week and then trying to write, or if like just trying to write while listening to music that you normally listen to, because I feel like if you cut yourself out entirely, your mind might like remember melodies, like you said, kind of subconsciously. And
Yeah,
like,
because
write it
you
in.
are who you're influenced by.
And by taking it away, I think would make it kind of worse. But then I also think like if you're actively listening to other stuff, you know, I don't know.
Could you would you be even able to write a song if you'd never heard a song before? Like,
Oh wow, that is deep.
I don't know.
Shoot.
And the answer is probably not.
I was gonna say that's meta, but now that the metaverse exists, it kind of ruins that word for me a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Metaverse.
Okay,
Pretty
Ryan,
fun.
you've been playing in the metaverse.
Yeah, pretty fun,
So...
not gonna lie.
you've
You
been playing in
have?
the metaverse.
Yeah, dude.
Ryan.
It's crazy out there.
Really?
There's so it's called Horizons Worlds, and it's basically like the old, like I was saying, like on the last time we talked about this, the old VR chat. So you can boot up the game Horizon Worlds, and you can jump into a server with a bunch of literal children and just shoot them.
Interesting.
That's kind of cool.
Should have cut that out of.
Nope.
podcast
We're
probably.
keeping that. We're
No,
keeping
yeah, you can just
that.
Yeah, I feel like it's just waiting to get taken down. This thing. There's kids running around with guns. They're cussing at me. I'm like,
These are
Cussing at me.
actual. So it's just kind of
You
a
can tell they're
lawless
children.
experience.
The worst thing is when he's playing and he chooses to play like a poker game through VR.
True.
And
Yeah.
he can't hear me when I walk in, but
That's
there's like
good.
speakers on the outside of the Oculus too. So I
course.
can hear everything. And there's these little kids being like, "Oh shit, man.
Okay.
I should have gotten that." And they sound like that.
that.
Really?
Well, more or less
Like,
that.
and then they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, good job.
Yeah. It's brutal out here.
It's brutal.
Hey, brutal
So the
in these
controversy.
streets.
Sorry, I derailed us. I
Go ahead.
apologize.
Talking about the metaverse.
But we were
I'm
talking
gonna
No,
about.
go ahead.
sue
He's going back
the
to Dua Lipa.
metaverse.
Oh, cool.
Probably
What? For what?
for like emotional distress.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
From
yeah.
You
these
think that's coming
children.
down the
You-
pipe? People like with the whole metaverse thing. You think people are gonna sue Facebook for?
I was just thinking about that with
emotional
that
distress.
with that whistleblower.
No,
That was
you
like
choose to be on social media.
Oh,
you
that's
can't-
not
that's
necessarily
the
true.
argument, but
Wait, what about? Isn't there that Black Mirror episode that's kind of like that, where he
Meow
goes
Meow
off?
Beans.
He goes off of he goes after
That's
the
not about-
like the head guy who owns basically the equivalent of Facebook and tries to like kill him. He holds one of his workers hostage because he got in a car crash because a bunch of notifications were coming up and he looked down and his girlfriend dies or his wife dies or whatever in the car crash
I
and
haven't seen
he's
that one.
blaming the social media for her death because it was like the endless like notifications, the endless everything, like you're forcing my attention to it.
Nah,
your car.
Nah, it's all
You can
your
ch-
fault.
At this
The
point
guy
in
ends up-
time,
you
you can still
choose.
choose, but
I
in 10
think
years,
it's kind of up
knows?
in the air. Truly,
I think there's like an argument there. Like
I feel like if you genuinely started a lawsuit and had like enough evidence, Facebook would just pay
you
it
could
out.
probably
Yes,
get like
they
class
will.
action going, and you'd make like $10 or something, because they'd have to pay out everybody in the world, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
Yeah.
true.
Everyone gets
Crazy.
a
Rough stuff.
half of a penny.
that email
but
that
go
would go
ahead.
out and be like, hey, if you've been personally victimized by Facebook, please
Call this
sign
number.
up.
And
Sign
everyone's
up.
like,
I've gotten so many emails about class action settlements, and all of them you have to like go in, make an account,
yeah,
Yeah, I'm not
like
into that.
mark all this stuff to get like $5.
It only works when you're like, well, it's mostly when you're it's against an employer. But I
Mine
like
are
there was one
all-
for DoorDash. I did DoorDash for a hot
Yes.
second, and there was one for DoorDash
For
and I was
Postmates, there was one.
How much money would it be make it worth it for you to like fill out your info for?
Well,
a
here's the
class
thing.
action?
I knew that
$100.
like everyone's like there's millions of people doing
$100.
DoorDash, so I knew that like if anything came of it, which I wasn't even really a believer in the cause. I didn't think it was going to do that. Basically, they were arguing that you weren't encouraged to like take a break And so people were like
They weren't taking breaks.
working and working. But I'm like, that's kind of self-employment, right?
that's
I mean, like
fun.
you
Yes.
kind of have to monitor yourself.
Hustle culture.
And so like I was like, what's the solution? DoorDash is gonna write in like code that just like after 10 deliveries to be like, you should take a break. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, my Apple Watch does it, so why couldn't their app do it?
I don't know.
Multi-million-dollar company, probably.
The
That's
app
true.
says, what is it?
Breathe.
Yeah, like you need to breathe.
You
It's
need
like
to
it's time to stand
That
up. Yeah.
moment.
I'm like, hey, how about you just let me live?
Yep. Let me sit.
Don't
for
tell me
now.
when to
DoorDashing
stand.
is not worth it, I've concluded. But
Yeah, no, I did Postmates for a while.
it seems like a really
It sucked.
good idea. You're like, oh, it's like cash and it comes every Monday or whatever day of the week, right? And I was like, that was so nice. And when Jordan was away, at her program, I was like, oh, I'm gonna have all this time. Like, I'll have more time on my hands. I'll just
Yeah.
like hustle and make a bunch of money. And like some days were good and some days were bad. What I realized is you could never plan on doing well. You always had to just
Yep.
like go into it.
And
And
just
some days you did
go
great
for
and some
an
days you
hour.
didn't. But like if you went in with the thought process of like, I'm gonna make a ton of money tonight. When you didn't, inevitably, it was super like a huge blow to like my mental health. I was like,
I decided
Aw.
to not do it when I had like a big grocery order that I had to go pick up. And I had to go pick it up, and they were like, they lived far away from the grocery store. And then I waited there for an hour, and they kept not answering. So then I kept all the food.
wait,
Oh, that's, I mean, kind of
wow.
legit, though.
Yep.
Bunch of free food.
Aren't you supposed to just drop it on the door and leave it, take a picture and leave, right?
Back when we were doing it, it wasn't like a take
It
a
was
picture
like
and leave.
call-
it was like
contact your
call
person.
it, and if they
Oh, really?
like wait
Postmates
for
is
them to
different,
pick it
too.
up.
Yeah, it was.
That was
DoorDash,
before
you just
COVID,
dropped
before
it.
everything. So
That's crazy.
I've
Yeah.
heard about this thing. To your point, like making money and thinking about how much money you're making. There's this thing you can do called tip phishing.
Oh.
Like you can
What?
say, apparently on DoorDash, I don't know which app it is. I was reading about it, but I'm going to say it's on DoorDash. You can say how much you want to tip, and it calculates. Does that calculate in before you get it? Like, oh,
Yes,
the tip's
yes.
included. And then you go back and change it because, like, to get somebody to pick it up quick and do it, like, well, because they think
yeah,
they're
you
going to
can
get a bigger
change it.
tip.
Yeah, you can.
And then people change it, and they're
Yeah.
like, well, frick, I just went and did this whole
That was
job.
kind of the thing, and it kind of me doing DoorDash informed me on how like that delivery service works. Like and the few times that we will like Uber Eats something or whatever, I realized like you kind of have to tip because depending on the time of day and the day of the week, of course, some people won't pick it up. I remember when Uber Eats when like it was first kind of getting hot in this area. You couldn't get anybody to pick up your order unless you had put a tip. Like it wouldn't. It
just
nobody would
wouldn't
pick
go
it up.
through.
You know what I'm saying? You sit there for.
Wow.
I one time I sat for 2 hours because I didn't tip. I was just like I just wanted this. It was like a burrito or something, and I literally sat there for 2 hours, and then it said like the place is closed, and I was like, so you kind of have to.
Uber Eats wasn't available out here for a long time.
Yeah.
On
It
the
launched
east.
and it was like, sorry,
Yeah.
not available out here.
Dang.
Yep.
Well, sounds like Annie's going to be picking up some Uber Eats.
Hey, I'm gonna have to.
Hey, that's right. That's right.
I'm gonna have to. Listen,
I'll let you tell the news.
if you've been along on this journey with us long enough, you know that I have a love-hate relationship with the industry that is wedding dresses. And the love is not enough. And I
Don't
Quit.
love it anymore.
I did. I quit.
Yeah, nice.
So you've quit your job.
So, but I did it in like the adult way where I was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be transitioning out. My last day will be this day, and this will give you 1 month to fit and all that kind of adult way
Wow.
of doing it.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know. When I quit my job someday,
One day when
One
I finally
day.
quit
Did
my
you see
job.
the guy that brought the marching band in to work with him? And he's
To
like, I
quit?
want to let you know I quit.
No
and they're
way.
like, "Da, da, 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 da."
yeah, I have to be very careful
Really?
what I say at this moment in time. I'm not quitting, for the record.
No.
anytime soon. If anyone from work is
This
watching.
is, by the way, for the record.
But I always
not quitting.
loved those because it was kind of a trend on the internet of like
Sure.
how I quit my job kind of thing
Yeah.
With
for
a
like a
cake.
hot second.
Yeah, it was.
I saw one that was pretty gnarly. The guy hated his job so much that he brought in he bought ladybugs. You know how you can buy them for like,
Oh, no.
like
My
30,
sister
40,
did that
50
for their
count.
senior project or
And
their senior prank.
You can also buy crickets at that
That's
amount.
rough.
Oh, crickets are
And he
no.
released
Oh no.
like 100 of each
no.
in the office building that he worked in.
That's
way.
And
messed.
all day long crickets going.
Oh, and it was, and you know, those crickets, they have, you know, they multiply like crazy.
Yeah.
Like in a day,
so do
they can just
ladybugs.
multiply.
Wow.
So,
if you're real quiet,
I guess it was really difficult to get
yeah.
the crickets out of the building.
Would you care
Wow.
about ladybugs? Because I don't think I'd care.
Oh yeah.
If they were all
I'd be
over
pissed.
everything,
Yeah, but if
I'd
it's a
freak
huge
out.
office building and you're like, oh, ladybug.
No, the crickets are great
Oh,
because
ladybug.
crickets are hard to
Oh,
find.
ladybug. Oh,
Yeah.
100
And they make
ladybugs.
noise and they multiply. The crickets is really the best. move.
Ladybugs just pee on you.
Well, the ladybugs, like they die, and then other bugs eat them.
Yeah.
The crickets.
The crickets are the worst.
I don't think
They'll
there's a
eat them.
good scenario where there's bugs all over my office. I don't think that. I
Yeah.
think that's pretty effed. So was it like animosity? Like he hated his
Yeah,
job?
he didn't like it, I guess. I mean, I can't imagine he was like, I'm so excited. Like, I love this company. He
Pudding.
released
Yeah.
crickets. Yeah, I don't know. That's pretty crazy. A lot of good ones, though. Can I tell you something? I think you already know this.
You can go ahead.
Oh,
I watch Karen freakouts every day.
Oh, yes.
You're a
Yes.
psychopath.
At least
You're an
5
actual
videos.
psychopath. Who
This
does
is
I
kind
that?
remember
of
this.
psychopathic
remember this.
tendencies.
I love
Yeah,
it.
that's insane.
I think it's great.
Who's like,
why
oh
is
my
it
gosh.
psychopath?
It's just who does that? Who's like, you know what would make me feel better
I mean,
at night?
I'm all about
some
watching
Karen
a good
side.
Karen video.
Yeah.
But watch it every day.
Not every day. That's just
Secret
Hey,
amount.
hey,
You're right. You're
this
right.
is
I
a
mean,
safe space.
I don't do it every day.
No, if you
can
do,
tell us about
that's
the weird
fine.
I
stuff you're
definitely
into.
don't, but I will say sometimes when I'm bored, I will watch a Karen Freakout compilation video. I mean,
I'll do the same.
It's
There's
funny.
There's a subreddit called Watch People Freak Out, I think.
Classic.
Or Public Freakouts.
That's the one.
That and
Public
it's just
freakouts.
it's people, and sometimes they're fighting, like two guys beating each other up. Sometimes it's just like a woman in Walmart like told to not, she's not wearing a mask, so whatever. Those were hot for a while.
Yeah.
People getting kicked out of Walmart.
Walmart's just a gold mine for like anything.
So much
Oh, well,
goes on at
because
Walmart.
Walmart has like the security at the doors.
Yeah,
Like always.
they know because they know what's
Dang.
going on.
We
in Walmart.
know what's going to go down here. We're pretty sure we know what's going on.
Well, good on you, Annie, for not quitting your job in
Yeah.
such
Thanks.
a spectacular way.
I did it very well. So here was the driving factor, right? I'd already, and I was telling our friend Carrie about this today, because she was kind of like, oh, like what kind of brought it to the catalyst? And I said, well, the catalyst was someone else quit, and I all of a sudden realized I was like, oh no.
Wow.
Oh,
I'm
We're
gonna
gonna
own
get that
the
one.
store.
I'm gonna run this thing. See, a lot of people would say that's cool, like that, like I'm gonna run the store.
Yeah.
So
well,
you
that
had
was my
something
problem.
of like, was it like your one friend at work or?
It wasn't necessarily that. It was I already had moved up past the well, here the kicker was I talked to my boss months, literally, like, we remember this, probably
Yes.
like 2 months ago,
Yes.
about I will be transitioning out. I'm
Yeah.
going to, do other things. I'm going to do podcasting and wedding coordinating, all this
Yes.
stuff. So like this is me officially starting to step away, and they were all cool about it. And then,
Stuff
things
hit the
happen.
fan.
Life
Things
happens.
happen, life happens, and my immediate boss stepped away. And so then I was shoved into a manager position, which I had denied multiple times. They had offered it to me. I said, no. Oh, no. And then
Not a pay bump, obviously.
a very slight, but not.
Not worth
I
it.
don't know.
Not worth
I didn't want the title. They tried to give me the title. I said,
No.
no, you can pay me less and not give me that,
Yeah.
please.
No.
And so finally, it
thank
got to this point where I was like, when she had finally put in her last day, she was like, hey, that's it. I'm done. I had this realization that without her, it's only going to make my responsibilities more. And that was not something I'm willing to do anymore.
Yeah.
And so I called. I luckily have a really good relationship with my regional manager, and I actually texted him and was like, "Hey, she told me about your guys' conversation. Give me a call when you have a chance." And he's a very busy guy. I thought it'd be maybe like a day or two. He called me in about 0.2 seconds.
Yep.
Wow.
And so I just kind of
He
said,
knew.
yeah, I was like, hey, yeah, I'm not. And the way I explained it to him was, I don't want to be promoted. I don't want to grow further in the company, and demotions don't work. The only way that I could stay here is if it's like an extreme part-time stylist, and I've already been pushed into a leadership position that you can't undo. Truly, it doesn't really work out long term. So I said, so I've kind of gone as far as I can in this company, or that I'm willing to go, and I'm going to pursue other things. And he was like, I understand.
Yep.
Wow.
We out of here.
We out.
Baller.
And you know what? Best thing ever.
Yeah, you're
when
very
you-
relieved.
Feels good.
Yeah. When you realize you're not in it for like the fun or the like I did that job selling wedding dresses truly because it was like a bucket list job, and I loved the idea of helping people. And then when people's there was one day where every girl I had, she said yes to her dress and like found her wedding
Wow.
dress. And I felt nothing for every single one. And I was like, well,
I felt nothing.
Wow.
maybe this is a bad
It's a
sign.
sign.
Who knows?
Okay. Will that be cash or credit?
I was already telling her
Get
I would
outta
be
here.
so bad at that job because I feel like dresses that brides would get
That you don't like.
that I don't like, I'd be like, are you sure?
And we do have a
Or
stylist who does
you'd
that.
be like, if you're not sure, like, don't pull the trigger yet.
Yeah.
You have time, and you never make a sale because you're like so supportive. You're like, you got it,
Too-
girl.
You're too
If you're
supportive.
not
That's right.
sure,
That's
don't
right.
do it. Yeah.
That's what I would do.
I'm not. I wouldn't be very good at that job either.
Oh,
feel like.
I think that's kind of like the hard part is I was really good at it, but I don't like being salesy.
Ugh,
So
yeah.
like
being like fake.
when it came down to like I told all my brides, I told the bride that I met with for coordinating her wedding today, I was like, yeah, I don't really care if you guys hire me. I just want to make your wedding perfect. And they're like, oh, cool. And that's what I say to all my brides. I was like, I could care less if you buy a dress for me, but
Like, okay, but
let me help
we
you.
have to pay you
Yeah.
though to be here. You're like,
Yeah.
For the
that's
record,
good.
Yeah.
no,
Might
don't
not-
you dare pay me.
I saw
Don't you dare.
a tweet that kind of messed me up, and it was like, it's pretty lame that achieving your dreams just means that you make it your job.
Yeah.
Oof,
And it really like made me stop and think about like
Wow.
that's rough.
That's,
Achieve-
why, that's
like,
why people have like
that's
three
just
jobs.
well, that's just the culture is like, like for musicians, it's like, oh, like that becomes your job, then it's like you've made it. Like, oh, and it's
You've
like, but it's
done
like-
it.
But nobody likes to work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, but if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. You know what I'm saying?
That's
I
true.
think that's a lie that capitalism has told us. If
just
you
kidding.
if you do
I'm
what you
just
love, you never
joking.
work a day in your life, John. You love IT. You know
Okay,
that's not
all
true.
right, that's just.
Shoot.
And
Just
John's going to
aggressive.
plead the fifth on this one.
I'd like to leave.
I'd like to leave.
literally.
I'd like to leave.
Yeah, I think it's hard because it's like
You were relieved when you.
I was really relieved, but I feel bad, and I called my coworker who had also quit yesterday.
And you're like, yeah, girl, let's get it.
Well, and we talked. I go like, it sucks because we're leaving them in a crappy situation, but it would have been like, is it really
when's the right
worse?
time?
Yeah, because then it's like, okay, so then we struggle without her, and then I leave 2 weeks
Yeah.
later. That's even like,
Yeah.
And the problem is like with a bigger corporation like that, it's like you really truly are like a number at some point.
Except
Oh,
that's
yeah,
not a big
1,000.
that wasn't.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say
You're like lying though,
that's the big thing that
feel
people,
like
I
you were,
wish someone would have told
because
me.
they were like talking to you, like the higher ups.
Okay, I'll let this
It's-
pan out.
but
here.
Like,
basically,
I'm never gonna hear from the
Look,
president of
the si-
Starbucks.
and really truly the size of the corporation doesn't matter either because management is looking out for the company. They're not
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
looking out for an employee is beneficial for the company.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's why they look out to for their employees to some extent.
I think that's the worst thing about quitting, that it's like they make you feel bad, but it's also the kind of person you are.
well, and
Or
so
for
my
missing work. If you're like,
Yeah.
hey, I got to call in sick. And it's like, oh, well, we really need you here. It's like, you are you and you have to look
Yeah.
out for you at some point.
What I was going to say was,
Go ahead.
I wish somebody would have told me at 18 that when you work for a company, like no matter what, anything except for being self-employed,
Yeah.
they don't care about you. And I know that's hard to hear,
Yep.
They don't.
but
yeah.
they don't. You know what I'm saying? And I when I started working at a company that will remain nameless from my security and theirs,
Jack in the Box,
I
right? When you
thought
were working at
that
Jack
in the Box? Yeah.
I thought I really
Wendy's.
thought
Damn respect,
HR.
come on.
I really thought HR was like
Cared about you?
concerned about you, and it wasn't until somebody told me like 3 years ago, like HR is only concerned about preserving the company.
they're covering their
Well,
butt.
yeah.
And like they
Quite
pretend
literally.
like they care about you because they
Because
want,
that is, like I said, that's good for the company if they have
Yes.
employees that are cared for.
And yes, but like that changed everything for me because I was like, I was so naive when I started working. I thought like, oh yeah, like it's a great company and they're gonna help me out and they're gonna help me advance my career, which is true to some extent, but the only reason they're helping you advance is because they want you to stay.
Yeah, they want to train you up to what they want you to be so that they can rely on you more.
I wish people would tell, like, I wish, and maybe people are saying that and I just never heard it. But like
we say it to you every week, pal.
But I wish
I come into the podcast studio and say, John, you're just a number, man.
And maybe that's too harsh. Like maybe that standpoint would just scare people away from like.
But
it's
I think
pretty cynical. But
at the same time,
like it's both, right? Because they're like the person that runs HR maybe to some extent does care about you and cares about their job and doing their job well. And that is what it is, but also cares about doing their job well. And if the company is going to lose X amount of dollars for the sake of John, it's like, well, John's going home because he costs this company too much, you know?
Man,
I think if you think about it like wide scale, if you go like real, no comment.
Sorry, I was going to say something
deep.
and I pulled it back and I'm glad. Go ahead.
You go like real deep about it. Like it really came with like the Industrial Revolution. That's when like these kind of like factoring settings and these like giant corporations started to pop up and like monopolies and whatnot. And prior to that, like if we kind of strip those away and say we like made it illegal to have a corporation beyond however many employees or whatever.
Yeah.
And like it went back to kind of like, oh yeah, like the smaller markets and the smaller stores where then human resources probably would care about you because the happier the employee, the like more, respected the employee is, the better work they produce,
When literally there's kids falling in the meat grinder, right? And big meat industry is like,
well, like Target, right? Like, you could just freaking be like, whatever.
That's not these days.
Yeah, that's the jungle,
Yes, right? Is that what it's called? The jungle?
Yeah, something Sinclair.
Welcome to the jungle.
Yeah, it's the jungle by. Oh shoot! I made a joke to my parents about this and Upton
it's about
Sinclair.
the meatpacking industry in America.
It's
pretty standard, yeah.
Hey,
pretty rough.
Fun fact, I learned this on Armchair Expert. It's actually where White Castle came from, is because after Upton Sinclair came out with The Jungle, which talked about the horrible conditions that your processed meat is actually made in, like way back worse than it is now.
Yes.
They were no one was eating like ground beef, and so they started making it into the hamburger patties, but no one would buy them because they thought that it was unsanitary. So they made White Castle, that chain, which was everything was stainless steel, which gave the perception of cleanliness and sanitariness. And then White Castle, which was like, a class thing.
Yeah. Oh,
like the royalty, like a class thing to make it seem like clean and bougie. And that's where fast food took off.
And White Castle now is like not.
Yeah, White Castle
so
is like, oh, that's yeah.
I mean,
okay,
I'm not going to not hit a bunch of sliders.
Buy White Castle
like,
sliders.
I'm not going to hit a bunch of sliders.
Yeah, like I'm.
By the way, if you want to listen to more good podcasting, head on over to Armchair Expert. Really good show.
Small
Annie name drops
starter.
them pretty much every week.
Yeah,
way taller. They're really starting to take off.
Yeah, you listen to them a lot.
Guys, I realize I have a podcast problem.
Do you?
I listen to at least 2 full podcasts every single day.
I feel
What?
like that's
How
not
do you do that?
So I wake up before, like I literally wake up and I put on a podcast. I don't even necessarily
while
like
you're
listening.
getting ready?
Yeah.
Well, it's just background
So
noise.
I listen
You
to
get
it.
ready for an hour plus? Like
No, and then I drive, and then I sit in my car.
You
then like
drive
a
quite a
lot.
bit, so that makes sense.
I do drive a lot, but then even like in my headphones when I would work out, I would listen to podcasts. I don't listen to like music.
How do you do that?
And then I would sit in the car with my friends on the way home from the gym, and I would make them listen to the podcast. And I would talk about the podcast
in the
I
middle?
listen to.
Is this hyping you up?
I'd be like,
I do that to Kara
guys,
sometimes.
like, guys, I listened to this podcast when I was lifting weights today, and they're all talking about like their rap music. I'm like, it was about the Industrial Revolution. It was amazing.
you have to hear it. White Castle is insane.
You're like, do you know what they put in the meat?
They're like, I just listened to music the whole time.
Like,
What are
I'm
you
a
doing over there?
vegetarian.
I had a friend who listens to sermons, and I was like, you're a weirdo. That's too much.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, the word
That's
of God really
weird.
pumping the eye.
Yes.
I was listening to a murder podcast. That's way cooler.
Hey, yeah, that gives you inspiration for working out.
Yes.
Why do I need to be stronger?
So you
I
can
can
run
fight.
away.
So I can protect myself.
Fight
Fight.
him. You think
Him.
I'm gonna run?
Oh, him. You think it's gonna be a man?
Yeah.
That
the-
assaults
typical.
you?
Are you really gonna
Wow.
get into this
Wow.
in Women's
Really
Month?
on Women's
In
Month?
wo-
Annie? So
Women's-
a woman couldn't be a murderer?
They
Wow.
could. They
That's
could.
pretty
Wow.
upsetting.
But
Your
statistically,
privilege is showing right now.
statistically,
No.
less.
Well,
Way.
I don't know.
Oh, you know what? I'll
Oh.
fact check this.
Oh,
right?
really?
Let me
Check it
look
too.
up. Let me.
Oh, we
Hello,
have a caller coming in
patriarchy?
right now. It's Casey Anthony calling. Oh, yeah,
Right.
pretty rough, Annie.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about that? I'm just backing you up. I'm
Here's
just
my
saying.
thing.
Just
Okay,
saying.
Just got you
I
back.
will say
Thanks,
I feel
pal.
like crimes of
Guys gotta stick
passion.
together, you know.
Yeah. Those guys, hey, it's a real rough
Hey,
world out for us.
This month is pretty brutal.
Hey, Olivia Rodrigo, it's brutal out here,
Brutal
right?
out here.
Hey, you know what? I'm not the reason you guys get canceled. You're the
true.
reason
Yeah.
you
Oh,
I don't know,
guys
you
get
made the
canceled.
TikTok.
No,
So-
you quite literally are the reason we get
You
canceled.
literally made the TikTok,
It's not like
and then
I
you tried to
edited
defend it, and you said maybe they were joking.
Well,
like
no,
you didn't just
finally-
cut it off. You were like, I don't know. Were they joking? You tell me. You're like blinking twice.
No,
like I
I
need
said
help.
that that's why you're.
Podcast
It's why
is-
it humbles
By the way, this
you.
is what we're cutting to send to, like to get advertisers.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. It's probably good. It's probably good.
Topo Chico, spicy water.
God.
Topo Chico, Italian spicy water. That's about it, guys. So really
So
great
you quit your
podcast.
job.
I wanna say,
Thank you.
Oh, we're gonna go off of the serial killers, huh? Let me
Yeah,
just say this.
probably
I
should
think
transition at some point.
statistically, crimes of passion probably happen more by women. I would say like repetitive crimes
Yeah.
of aggression.
Yes.
Probably more likely that
No,
happens. by
and
women.
I don't deny that.
Do you
That's
think that
probably
women
true.
maybe just get away with it more? Like we would just never know that.
No,
women
I
were
think they
because
actually
they
get
were
caught
so
a lot
good.
more.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Because I think it's crimes of
They're so
passion.
good
I
at
think
murder
it's no. I
that they
think they
get away
get
with it.
caught.
Men
I
have
said
been
they got
murdering for
caught.
years.
Wait, men just suck at murdering. Is really what it is.
No, I'm
men
saying
are really
women
good at
suck at
murdering.
murdering.
We don't have the numbers of.
I think women, it's mainly crimes of passion. So it's like in the moment. It's not like premeditated usually.
Yeah.
And so with that, you're more likely to get caught because you're not thinking of the like, I need
You're not
to clean
thinking
up
of the plan.
this and I need to do that.
And those two charges, the premeditated versus
Who murder
crime
more,
of
women
passion,
or men?
is less time.
I need to know that number. Isn't there a crazy statistic like right now in America? There's like 100 serial killers that are just out there doing their thing.
Probably, yeah. Wow, I don't
like-
know that. And that's why women, if you have a
That's what I'm
Toyota,
saying.
you
Oh.
let the front, you have your driver's side door
Yeah, okay.
unlock and the
Let's
rest of them
clarify.
stay locked.
Let's clarify. She got a new car.
You
I was
want
going
me to
through the
die.
settings of
Let's
her car.
clarify. No. Let's clarify. You want me to be murdered.
No, okay. That's
That's a
now
side
you're-
note.
Now
That's a
you're,
side note.
She got a new car. I was
Okay.
going through the settings. There's this cool setting. I have it on my Prius where when you touch to unlock, it unlocks all the doors. Because I set it to unlock all the doors because I think, I'm going with friends usually.
Okay.
And my friends can just get in. I don't have to open the door and go unlock.
Right.
So I said, Annie, I'm going to change this for you. This is going to change your life. Like, you don't have to unlock the door. And she's like, are
Yep.
you crazy?
John, and that is in defense of the women. This is the privilege we have. No one
I
would
know.
ever listen to me. No one would ever want to get in a car with me. No one would
Especially
ever.
if you're wearing those
outta here.
sunglasses.
Yeah,
Get
dude, are
outta
you
here.
kidding me? Nobody would ever want to get into a car with me to like,
Well, that's like it's
do
literally
things
every
to
time
me.
you get in the car, you're supposed to like look behind you before you.
and
even,
that
like,
is,
Yeah.
shut
and
it
well,
We
open.
never think about that.
Okay, I
know.
came into this joking, but
Oh, I
serious
do.
is like that's never. As I got older, like in high school, I was like, that's a thing, like for girls.
Well, then
Oh, yeah.
it enlightened me because I never thought about it. I'm thinking it as a convenience. I'm like, I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
have to go in, press unlock, and then my friends can get in. She's thinking it as like a security tactic. Like
there's
I don't
literally
want to unlock all my
A
doors because
dude
if I'm
standing
running
out
from
in
someone,
the parking lot right
Yeah.
now, waiting for Annie to come out
Well-
of Target and get in the back of her car.
Target.
You
True.
never know.
You never know.
He could.
No, you're right. I'm
He
with
could.
you.
no,
on that.
and that's
Okay.
and that
And you
it
look
opened
under
my
your
eyes.
And
car
I
because they
tell-
don't want anyone slashing your ankles.
I
Yeah.
remind
Yeah,
you
and
of
that
this all the time.
They just like get you.
You
What do
look
you remind
underneath
me
your
of?
car,
Just like somebody's gonna go
Well,
get
and
you.
then-
You know, like
so be careful.
You're like, hey, Kara, have a good day at work. I know you're going in at 4
brutal
a.m.,
out
but hey,
there.
remember,
Someone's
someone's
gonna
going to
get
go
you.
get you.
dude, like
gonna
when
get
she
ya.
like when
She's gonna get
Kara
ya.
drove out to the desert and it was like she was like, oh, we're gonna get back not until nighttime. I was like,
He was like, "Do not. I don't want you driving."
I was
it.
like, you're gonna drive out in the
At
desert
nighttime
at
in the
night.
desert,
Your
you're
car's
gonna
gonna
get
break
killed.
down.
And
You'll
someone's
be
going to
on
kill
the
her.
side of the road, and then
Oh my gosh,
there's a
and
desert
then-
killer.
And,
the desert. I think they call him
the desert killer.
Because
The
that's where
desert
people
killer.
die and no one finds their bodies.
The gender is,
You know what?
gender is
And you're not
neutral on
wrong.
that. We
Thank
don't know
you.
man
You know
or
what?
women on the desert killer.
I knew
and we won't
someone.
know because they're out there.
They're out
and
there, so
we're
they haven't
over
been
here.
caught.
Yeah.
Listen, I
be a
knew
woman.
someone who found a body in the desert.
What? Wait, what?
terrifying.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was a they were okay. It wasn't like a homicide, but like it was a motorcycle crash. The guy had crashed on his motorcycle, and granted, it was like
Guaranteed
probably had
that
happened
happens
within like
all
a
the time and
day.
we don't know.
Gosh.
People like spin
Or was
out.
it staged as a motorcycle crash?
No, I guess
the
from the
desert
story I was
killer.
told, the desert
And that's how
killer.
he's gotten away with it
Dun,
this
dun,
whole
dun,
time.
dun.
Maybe he
I
like
think-
cut the brakes on the
on the
motorcycle.
motorcycle.
Whenever
And
I
then
think of
Or he just ran him
stuff
off the road.
happening in the desert, I think
gosh.
of Breaking
Yeah,
Bad.
think about that.
Yeah.
Breaking Bad. I'm watching Breaking Bad right now.
Hey.
So I want to just
Wow.
drop these statistics real fast
ahead,
before we
drop the
continue with
stats,
this.
drop the
Who's more
stats.
likely to murder who? Which I guess it makes sense in the grand scheme of things
This
if
is
you
so
account
stupid.
for a lot. You're so stupid.
We
You
don't
back
know.
off.
Like I
It's
just brought
murder.
up the theory that women could be better at it, and that's why we don't know about them.
Well, no, listen,
And we're going
this is
off
not-
of public stats. Go ahead. Anyways, go ahead.
Hey, respectfully, shut up.
All we own is
So-
all we know.
It says
know is all
males
we
are
own.
more likely to be murder victims, just in general. But if you think
Victim.
about that, like
They're
if you
murdered
bring
by other men.
yeah, if you
Well,
bring
we
in
don't know
like
that
if you
yet.
bring in like gang crime and all that stuff, like I guess that would make a lot
Men are more
sense.
statistically likely to be like gang members. Is that what
Yeah.
you okay?
Yeah,
That-
and then
that-
like
that
and
kinda
you
tracks.
put like all of that and like. I guess that makes sense that men are more likely to
So
be
we should
murdered
be
in
the
general.
ones
You should be worried that you're going to
Looking
get
behind
murdered.
our back, and we're not.
Just
You
don't
should.
join
and
a
we're not
gang.
at all. So
And
And
then,
like,
but
and like
here's
you said,
the thing.
these are the reported numbers.
Yeah,
We
these
don't-
are
we
the
have
reported numbers.
We don't know about the non-reported.
But here's the thing, right? And this is
just saying.
where women are afraid. Women are more likely 63.7% more likely to be victims of domestic homicide, so murdered by their
killed
spouse.
by their spouse. Oh,
And sex-related homicides, 81% more likely to be
that
What
makes.
does that
in a
mean?
sex. So someone kills
Sex,
you
like,
because they
rapes
want
you
to,
and kills
yeah.
you.
Oh,
What do you mean, what
And
does
we're
that mean?
What is that?
demonetized.
Yeah. What did you think was that was going to mean?
Like you
Like
had
during
sex and then
sex.
got.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
Which is
Topo Chico.
how.
Spicy water.
Okay.
Wait. What's? I have a
is
question. What's
how-
the stat on that?
Which is how well, so your lovely fiance,
Okay.
when I visited her in Colorado, we
ahead.
went to
Good.
Chris Watt's house and he had sex with his wife and then killed her right after.
well, we saw it in Studio 66 or
I'm
66.
sorry.
so
I'm sorry.
chainsaw. through
You
the
went to
head.
somebody's house that did this?
There's a
Well-
documentary on Netflix.
So it was
this is
he
like a
lives
famous
he like
murderer.
lives in the town or he lived in the town and so
Okay.
that the house that he killed her in
Nobody's bought.
No
it's
one's
like
bought.
overgrown. It's like nobody will buy it
gosh.
because it's like iconic.
Yeah.
Now it's like this house that
because
he
he,
murdered.
Chris
in.
Watt's
it was
house.
it wasn't too long ago. I want to say it was like 2010 or something.
It's
I'll look
pretty
it up.
rough. A documentary, by the way.
So he had sex with his wife and then killed her. Mm-hmm. Just
yeah,
like
he had a thing on the side and he wanted to start over. And he didn't want to go through
Oh,
divorce.
but like one last ride.
It was
Kind of
20
situation.
Okay, I don't
hey,
know about
hey,
that.
hey,
I
hey.
don't
It
know
was
about that
20,
word.
2018.
Oh,
So it was really not that long
And-
ago.
Wow.
But he
So
wasn't a
wait,
serial killer.
Do
He
you
was
think
just,
it's been enough
he-
time for
Let me
you to
see.
be visiting the house as like a
Let me
historical
see.
landmark?
he's in jail.
Well, there's plenty of.
So?
Hey, listen, it wasn't a historical landmark. It was trespassing.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Was it on Crime Junkies?
no, it's on
No.
Netflix, dude. It's on
I don't know. I don't know. I don't listen to Crime
so
Junkies.
this is a popular thing that other people have seen.
Yeah.
Other psychos probably know about
Hey, it
this
wasn't-
haunted house.
it's
not
not.
haunted.
Hey, we don't know if it's haunted
Have you ever
yet.
been inside? We just
oh,
drove
you ever
past
been in a
it.
house where
Can
somebody
it be?
died?
Has anyone
via
thought
murder?
about that? Like, I never think of like if it's haunted. This ghost is like 100 years old. You never think that
Okay,
like
this
it's haunted
house
from
is
yesterday.
A very nice house.
It is, but
Not
it's
anymore.
not like that
It's not like
anymore.
that anymore.
It's
Let
like
me
all
find a
dead and overgrown. It's the
Bro.
only house that has a brown lawn. Everything like the HOA is like meticulous. Everything's perfect, and then it's this
I
one.
can't sell the
Dang.
house. We buy it.
Well,
Oh,
so
oh,
We bought a house.
oh. Wait.
what's interesting is
that's
so
fine.
we thought my
We bought
theory
the
for
Watt
why
house.
no one bought it
Why?
was because in
there was a gruesome
California.
murder in it?
Okay, well,
nah,
Yeah.
that couldn't be it.
No.
so in California, the law is you have to disclose if there was anyone who died in the house for 3 years.
Yeah,
After
you
like
have
3
to-
years after, but that's
to tell
only
sellers.
that's only California.
That's weird.
So in
Doesn't happen
Colorado, you
anywhere
don't
else.
have
You
to
never have to
disclose
say
it, but it's
anything.
so it was
But
such
you-
a popular
you kinda know,
story.
though. when you
Well, you
walk
can
in that
Google the
place.
address.
Did you like?
So we couldn't go in. That they had had like the
the
windows
realtor wasn't
open.
available. We couldn't do a walkthrough.
We called. We tried to schedule an appointment, but we looked through the
Bizarre.
window, and then of course it's Jordan and I, and we're so freaking dramatic. We're like looking through the window, and it's all quiet, and we both realize we're like. The fan upstairs is on, and we freaked out and like
my
ran back to the
gosh.
car. When in reality, is there's still realtors who are like actively trying to sell the
Yeah.
house. Like
It's
people,
no.
The way you guys
That's the
said
ghost.
it, you were like, "Oh, it's the Chris Watt house." I
Yep.
thought it was like Bonnie and Clyde or
Same.
something, like Charles Manson that I
Well,
didn't
keep
know
up on
about.
your Netflix
Oh
documentaries.
yeah,
and
let me
then
just
do-
take some time to watch.
if you
from
could just
2018,
if you could
a
keep
murder.
up on your murders, thanks.
Yeah, actually, somebody got a hit and run down the street last week. So,
Really?
did
Who?
you guys see
Did they
the
make
Netflix?
Did they make an Netflix
Oh yeah,
documentary
there's
about
a
it?
there's a
Then I
3-part
would watch
Netflix
it.
series. I
Then
bet
I
you
would
watch
watch
it.
Let the record show that Karen and Annie actually care about the deaths of these poor people, unlike Ryan and John.
That's right.
Okay.
I'm just saying it's not unheard of for there to be a documentary made about it, and you didn't see
What's
it.
special about him?
So then all of a sudden,
Killed his wife during
So
sex.
now you're not interested in it because you haven't
Well,
seen the
what was
Look
documentary.
up the
special?
numbers.
It's-
Look
it
up the
was
numbers
like-
of how many people have killed their spouse during sex, Annie. Thank you.
Oh
I
jeez!
hate
All
that
right,
this is my
Thank you.
you're gonna get put on a watch list. I think that's probably not a good
She's
idea.
not looking up how to.
I'm not. Oh shoot!
Chico. Daddy, it's spicy watch. Every time that this show is probably canceled, I'm just gonna run a quick ad. Just like a. I want to remind you, this episode is brought to you by Poddex. Use the code WTP to get 10% off your next
don't
order
know.
of podcast-related question deck cards.
Cards.
Go ahead, Annie.
Go ahead, tell us the stat. If there is
It's
one.
just a lot of stories of horrible female murders.
Okay.
There's not.
we
You know
get a
what's
number?
weird?
Can we get a
maybe
number?
maybe there's not a number of it.
Oh.
Maybe that's not a statistic they
weird.
take much.
They don't.
Okay, but
they
I
don't
feel
ask that
like-
question.
They have
You ever seen this
statistics for
movie?
everything.
Oh, you've seen it. It's an awful movie. I told you guys not to watch it, and you watched it anyway. It's this movie, Gerald's Game.
They've seen it.
No,
What?
never seen it.
What?
It's a. I
It
wouldn't
sounds
see
familiar.
It.
Like it came out recently.
Well, it was a movie. The commercial was like real big because it's the girl where her husband dies while they're doing stuff, and she's like handcuffed to the bed.
Kinky stuff.
Oh, I remember that.
I remember
That
Yes.
the commercial.
She's
It's
having
like
hallucinations.
yeah, she's like freaking out.
jeez.
So she's like imagining him and her
And then there was a
outside the bed.
hallucination that was actually real.
Yeah,
and she finds
but
out
the whole
later.
thing is like
Spoilers alert for.
yeah for Gerald's Game. Don't
Gerald's
watch
Game.
it. It's a horrible movie. That
I
and
didn't say
Midsummer
which
never see.
hallucination. It could be anything. Anyways, but go ahead.
I watched a
Anyway.
video essay about Midsommar, and
I
I
actually
want to watch
hated
it
it.
still. I want to watch it.
Actually,
You-
worst thing I've
I'm
ever
here to
seen.
tell you, Kara, you don't want to see it.
Kara,
I want to watch it.
no, I'm
Kara.
telling you, I saw it
only
in
want to watch
theaters.
it because of Florence Pugh.
Wait,
no,
which
Kara,
movie
I'm
are we
telling
talking
you,
about?
the worst movie I've ever seen, and I
Midsommar.
honestly
It's
felt
like
disgusted
all these
that I
kids
watched
go
it.
out into the like the backwoods of
It's
whatever.
culty. It's
It's
they
cult,
join
and
a cult.
there's like a big cult out there, and they basically spoilers for Midsommar. They like sacrifice all these kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They like skin them.
See,
like
I
some
know-
of them
I
they
know what
skin them. Some of them they
happens.
like.
The thing I don't like about it is it starts off
We
with
talked about seeing this when it came out, didn't we?
yeah.
I don't know. I saw it in theaters with a couple friends,
came
and
out
we
like 5 years
honestly
ago.
we
Okay,
like
never
told
mind.
so we saw it on a Saturday, and we went to church the next day, and we and all of our
gosh.
friends were gonna go see it, and we told them like don't like never like it starts off with like this horrible murder suicide, and then the whole story, the like main girl in it, it's like her journey of grief, and then to like try to help her through this horrible like mourning and grief of her family, like
Yeah.
a murder suicide of her like family.
Yep.
Her boyfriend, who was gonna break up with her, takes her to this
Classic.
cult thing in whatever
It's
country
like
they're going
Burning
to.
She
Man.
says she
basically.
says
Yeah.
it's like they say it's like a festival, right?
Yeah,
Like,
but
oh,
it's
let's go to this festival.
yeah, but it's not. It's
Like
and then
Fyre Fest,
and
but
then
with
like
cults and murder.
there's all this triggering stuff
flower
for her that just
children.
goes into her like intense grief and mourning, and she's like hallucinating her like
Rough.
sister and stuff. It's just
I kinda wanna see it
and
now.
that's and
Yeah,
that's
that
the
seems like
baseline.
That
It's
seems like a movie I'd like.
I have a question for you all.
nope.
Is when you see things or like when you watch scary movies or like scary videos on YouTube or whatever, does that impress on you? Like, do you think about it later?
Yeah,
Yes.
it plays in my head over and over.
Only certain things. There's
not for
certain
long.
moments in certain scary movies that I can like. They always come back. Mm-hmm. Always come back.
Yeah. Same.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah. Sometimes like if it's like dark, right? Or if I'm like walking through the dark, or if I'm about to go to bed, sometimes I will like picture like like scary movies or something like that.
Yeah.
When I'm like, I'm just trying to go to bed.
Question
Like,
for you on this.
Go
Follow up. Do you are you only scared when you're by yourself, or like now that you're living with Kara, like when you think of something scary, are you like not as scared about it?
Yes.
You're not as scared?
Not when I'm with Kara. It is true. When I'm by myself, I do. No, it's
You
true.
have the cats,
It's a true
though.
thing.
I was,
No,
you know
oh,
what?
Can you just take the
cats are there.
compliment
Can
and
you
shut
Just
up?
like enjoy that sweet thing I said.
Yeah, just
God.
please.
Take-
You have the cats.
when I was living on my own, it was like way scarier.
Because I had that same thought.
Because I
And
freak myself out and I'm like, oh, okay, this is it. Like somebody's breaking into my house right
He
now.
keeps a pink bat next to him.
Yeah,
I'll tell
I
you
have a
what.
little
when
bat.
I was a teenager and I was starting to get into scary movies and
Go
all
ahead.
that, right?
Yeah.
I used to think I will never get married. And here's why. In every movie, when there's a noise downstairs or there's something downstairs, it's always the dad or, the husband that's just like running or like going into the dark
Yeah.
to like defend his wife or his family. And I thought I could never do that. I used to think that. I said, no way.
Now that you are to be married,
I would 100% run
run
into
and gun,
whatever
because
was there.
literally who cares? Like at that point,
Yeah.
I'm like, if they're gonna come kill me and my wife, like they might as well just come kill me.
Right?
Yeah,
Isn't that a
totally.
weird
Yeah,
feeling that
absolutely.
shifts in you when you
Yeah.
like find your person?
I'm sure when you have kids,
Annie,
it's
someday-
obviously the same thing. Oh my God, John!
Annie, someday someone will be willing to die for you, but until then, you can die yourself.
Annie, I'll die for you.
Oh my
Thanks,
God!
Kara. Hey, Annie,
got you.
someday someone's going to be willing to die for you, maybe,
Annie,
but
get a
until
cat.
then, yeah,
Hey,
I
get the
can have a
cats.
cat. Like
Get the cats.
What I was
My-
going to
Hell,
My
not where
answer-
that conversation was supposed
my
to go.
answer to
but
that conversation-
pretty
Let's
Let's
funny.
go back to
Pretty funny.
murder statistics.
Mine-
Murder stats.
I never go
Sorry,
back
Annie.
to.
You know what okay, sorry. I
No,
didn't mean to.
no,
make fun
I
of you.
knew what you meant.
Go
You're
ahead,
dead to
Kara.
me.
I was gonna say.
Go ahead.
Going back to your question, if it sticks with you,
Yes.
I don't think specific things stick with me.
Right over my thing.
Like I can't think about a movie, like a specific, like that.
I guess
that
that's
happened in that
what
movie.
kind of thinker you are. Like,
Yeah,
when
you're
you
really good at
think,
compartmentalizing.
Do you see pictures in your brain, or do you just think thoughts? Like, do you have?
whoa, this is so
this is
interesting.
okay. Here's the question.
Do I think
and,
thoughts?
and we're gonna clip this off. When you think thoughts, are they pictures or are they you, like your voice?
my voice.
They're my voice.
Yeah.
Pictures.
I have both.
What?
Mine are
I
movies.
can have, I could have both
Yes,
at
similar.
times. But
Predominantly, when you're thinking, if you're just like at Moniker and you're thinking, you're like, oh, I have to get stuff done. Like,
oh yeah, then it's like movies.
you have
Oh,
a
that's
thought
fully
pop in
my
your head.
voice.
I have
Fully my
both.
voice.
I think I have both too. Like, sometimes I'll be like picturing things, and then like my little like voice in my head will be like commentating on it.
Yeah,
like,
I'm narrating everything,
Yeah.
but I'm also visualizing everything at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yeah, I don't think I
See,
don't really visualize it.
I like movies stay with me. Like scenes, like I had to stop watching SVU because there was one episode that played in my head for probably 2 months straight.
Yeah.
Oh, I used
And
to
it was
watch
just like-
Criminal
I
Minds
do.
before
I get
bed.
that like that too.
I started
Yeah.
watching Criminal Minds for bed now again.
And like what made me so mad about Midsummer is it was that thing where I walked out of it and I was like, this does not add to the world. Like this just
it's
adds
just-
like
The
like,
guy and so I watched this video essay about it. The director literally said like, I wanted this to be a visceral experience. Like
and it
viewing
was.
it. Yeah.
And it was. And I walked out of it and I was so,
when are we watching it?
angry
Tonight.
that it went through all like
want to.
I was so angry at the fact that this got approved and people were like, yeah, let's do this. People should see this. And
Kind
I'm
of
like,
encouraging though, right?
Yeah.
Because you can make whatever you want, and if you just
What?
sell
Two different
people,
thoughts here.
if you just sell people on it, like you could get a bunch of people on board for like your effed up idea.
well, and I think that's what
It's
made me
also
so
how, like,
mad. Is
the
I was
worst
like,
things in history happen too. Is like some guy like convinces everybody that we should go exterminate we
should go invade
type
Ukraine.
of people. You know what I'm saying? But that literally like that's how it
Yeah.
happens.
It's
right?
just one dude like selling it, right? And everyone's like, okay,
Yeah, sure.
I'll call it.
Except
I'll
in this
call
case,
a producer.
everyone's like, no.
what's interesting is
Yeah.
I saw, to go off the Ukraine thing for
Go
a
ahead.
second, I
Sure.
saw this.
Please do.
Well, I saw this comparison about like the just not the actual moment, but like the situation in which Putin is in versus the situation in which Hitler was in when they both first decided to like invade. So like
Comparison. That's interesting.
it was super interesting the fact that it was like Hitler had been part of the old regime after during World War I and had wished that, you know, Germany had stuck together and was upset that it got pulled apart, where like look at Putin, he had been part of, you know, the Soviet Russia like military, had been upset that, you know, Russia had been pulled apart and like just wants it to be back together.
Thing.
It's very similar. Granted, like the world is very different. The like responses have been very different, but it was just so interesting because I also, when Donald Trump got elected, I was in a government class and it was a really interesting comparison that was made of like how people rallied for Hitler at the beginning and like the like verbiage she was using to get support. And granted, like when he first started,
he was very charismatic.
No one knew what was gonna happen, right? So like at the very beginning of how he gained
back
support,
this country, like we're gonna make it.
It was super interesting. And to say that, like, I'm not comparing them as like people and like what, like who they are, like as people.
Sure.
But it was interesting, kind of like how, like, the reality of how you get people rallied for a similar cause doesn't change. Like that is a uniform thing that doesn't like anyone can use it.
It's
anyone
like by
can
the
use
book
it and
logical
get it.
fallacies. Like it's us versus them. It's a slippery slope.
Great. So I use that a lot. Jeez.
Okay, sorry to tell you.
We
It's
know.
a logical
Hey.
fallacy.
Hey, but it was just like, it was really interesting. And so I was like, it's just,
gotcha.
you know, they always, like my mom's a history teacher and she always says history is an early warning system. And she got that from someone famous, I'm sure. But it was just really
No, she did that
interesting
herself.
to like, yeah, she's a genius. Don't tell her that. Don't let her get a big head.
Dang.
But it was just like really interesting to be like, wow. And I think to go back and tie this into the like
Yeah, do it.
midsummer, like
Good
it's that kind
podcasting.
of thing where it's like, yeah, it's good in the sense that we should be able to kind of see, we shouldn't be able to hide the kind of effed up thoughts that people have, because like when you hide them and repackage them into what everyone else wants to hear, that's how you like, you know, progress these people who then later end up having these horrible ideas.
Right. Maybe you should air it out, and so
Early
that
on.
other people that maybe like have the same like, and it's just art expression, right? Like it's just, but like you said, like, because art is not for nothing. Like more often than not, it has a message.
Yeah.
So I guess that would be the message, is like he just wanted to create something
That's
just
just fucked.
like the
Literally.
power of storytelling and the power of visuals, and
And I think
guess
too, like it's hard. It's like, it was, I think what's hard is, first of all, that the girl who's the actress in it is an amazing actress.
Queen.
Florence Pugh.
But the thing that's
Love her.
hard about it is like, I think was like watching the like most vulnerable part of a girl's life just be manipulated. And I think that like bringing it back to like crime statistics and everything, like that is the biggest fear. And to watch it happen on a giant screen and to have
Kinda
everyone
feeds
be like,
into it.
oh my gosh,
But then
yeah,
you get
go
that
see it.
one
It's so
person
interesting. And I'm like,
Who watches it? Who was thinking about joining a cult, and now they won't.
I wonder
I
what the
doubt
statistics are
it.
of people
Who
that
knows?
watched horror movies, right? And then
They
we're
watch
like,
a bad cult thing,
I mean,
and
literally,
it's like, oh, my friend. It sounds like my friend's getting to that, and then they
was
help
it
their friend.
Charles Manson
who
that
knows?
was
Yeah.
inspired by Helter Skelter, the song?
yes.
So what does any of it mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's weird.
that
why?
was his
Did he-
whole
did
thing.
he
Is like
play
he
it or
heard the
something?
Beatles song
Yeah,
Helter
that was his,
Skelter.
like, that was
he was
his,
like a
like-
failed musician, and that like
That
But-
was
but
what
that's
he
kind
was
of a
trying.
cop-out, though, like-
Because they did the Sharon Tate murders. That was like the big murder that put him on the map. And that was because they were not going after Sharon Tate, but going after the music producer who owned the house before them. And it was Charles Manson sending his people after them because he wouldn't sign him.
crazy.
And they killed whoever was at the house, and it
Wow.
happened to be
And
poor
Leo
pregnant
DiCaprio was there.
Sharon Tate.
Well, he wasn't there, but
He wasn't there. Yeah, just
that was in the
rewriting
movie.
history.
Just rewriting history. Look, this whole podcast just ties back into each other. It's not a bunch of random topics. We're just setting up dominoes, you know?
It ties back in.
And then
And
we're-
we actually months of planning go into these
Months of
episodes.
planning.
Yeah.
Yep.
Months
You can
of
see the red thread
planning.
on the wall connecting
But
all
all
the
this
topics.
to say, I did
That's
quit my
our next
job,
set.
and I am going to become
Thank you.
a detective.
Serial killer. Oh, a detective.
Two sides.
Right. Because some people
Hey, you
watch
know who will
movies.
never catch a serial killer? If the serial killer is the detective set on the case to catch the serial killer.
I mean,
Is that a movie?
Hey, trademark. Don't you dare
is that a
steal that,
movie?
Warner
Right.
Brothers.
We'll cut that.
Cut that. Trademark by Andy
We're gonna
Scoman.
use that.
Topo Chico.
Trademark.
I ripped off the labels.
Trademark.
Yeah, it's on your. Oh wait, there was a sticker on your
It's on my
shirt.
That's how trademark works. You
That's
just
how
say
trade-
it.
you just say it,
trademark
and
when
it's
I
done.
go
there.
Trademark.
Business license by underscore. You just claim it. It's like when you
Wow.
declare
Just
bankruptcy.
affirmations.
I declare bankruptcy.
So if anybody needs an event or a wedding coordinated,
Think up to me or homicide solved. I got you.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, we did solve a murder on this
homicide.
podcast.
We did.
We
24
did.
hour.
Remember that?
I didn't
We
do
did.
any of it.
No, you
No,
didn't.
you
were
did not.
there.
You did not help it
part
out.
of it.
Nope.
I don't like that
We
you guys
passed
said
him
that.
things.
Yeah.
No, we passed you
Hey.
things. You'd be like, yeah.
You literally would be like,
You guys,
Wow,
You were
Ryan.
there.
you guys are taking a lot of credit for the murder that
no,
I
you
solved
solved it.
on my
I
own.
will admit that you
I was
solved
like, he
it.
was left-handed. That's why
And then we couldn't figure out how to check it, and we finally checked it after you'd already solved it.
me and my mom. I get this from my mom, and my family hates it. But like, if we're watching a movie,
You try to figure out the ending.
you can figure out the ending in the first like
Yes.
10 minutes.
Yes, you can.
My mom would be like, he's left-handed, and my dad, my sister, and everybody would be like, okay, like it's a slow burn. We got it, and she's like, he's left-handed.
Love that.
Like,
I love the idea that your mom has that kind
but
of
I'm just
voice.
saying, I'm like, oh, what's that? In the first 10 minutes, they set this thing up. That's literally.
the
That's
brother's
why-
gonna
You can
be
do
the
that.
evil
Every
one.
movie we watch, you're like, even if it's not a very clear ending, you're
off
like,
John,
oh,
too.
it's gonna be
Okay, but
This,
more
this,
times
this.
than
I will
not, I'm right and you're not.
Not
On
entirely
endings
true.
of movies.
what?
Sometimes.
Yes.
You've had a few
Hey, Brian,
Had a
just
good
remember
wins.
that you're most
She's
likely
had a
to be
few
killed
wins.
by Kara. So
in,
just
a,
like,
in a crime of passion.
Oh.
But
hey, why don't you just like chill about it? You
Kara
know?
is most likely
To just be killed by
to just
you,
be killed
generally.
by a man. So
That's true.
dang. Isn't that weird how it all works?
It really is. I don't think that any of us will be murdered. Knock on wood. But
Is it-
If
I
one
do
of us
think
is
that.
Or is
murdered,
it
we should
causation?
solve it.
Okay, a pact right
Pact
here.
right here.
One of us is murdered. The other three will solve their murder.
Got it.
Pact on three.
Unless,
Pact on
of
three.
course,
One,
one of
two,
the other
three.
three-
Pact.
if we talk about
Okay,
our
I guess it's
deaths
a pact of
every
two.
week on the
Jeez.
show,
You
like,
think we'll get
do you
viewership?
think we'll like be
Yeah, it's real meta
more
of
likely
us.
to die or less likely to die?
I kind of like the idea that if you could clip all the spots of me talking about my death in the future
Death?
at my
Oh,
funeral,
yeah.
It's like-
I'd kind of be
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
No, yeah, I will. Do you want me to?
Yeah, that'd be great. Oh no, we already agreed upon this yesterday that John dies before me. We've agreed.
Oh.
I don't really.
Sweet.
Yeah,
I don't
I
wanna be
get. I'm
around
gonna
for
plan
that.
his funeral. Part of my event planning company.
Oh yeah. Can I sign up before?
Yeah.
for that?
You'll be on the wait list for whenever.
Yeah.
You'll be the
Pay ahead.
first. I promise that will
You
be
know
the
you
first.
gotta wait
payment.
Adjust
until
for
we die.
inflation. And
Yeah,
you can charge
yeah.
the inflation to whoever's
Yeah.
alive. in my
Exactly. Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
John, if you're dead and Annie's still alive, it just means I'm driving to Annie's house. So just
That's true. Sure.
come on.
No, I will never
That
die.
was not.
I will.
That was
live
not a-
I will
forever.
never die to
What do
one
you
of
call?
you
I
two.
can't think of the
Dude.
word. Guys, I think my blood sugar dropped like halfway through this episode. I'm like,
Oh,
I
really?
can't think of the word
Have some lemonade.
when you
There you go.
when you
It's not lemonade. It's
admit to
sparkling
something.
water.
Well, it's-
when you
yeah,
admit
with
to
lemon.
something.
It's not lemonade though.
When you
Admit to
Conf-
something.
con-
Carbonated
Confess.
water and lemon juice.
Yeah, but it's
lemonade.
not
Ryan was-
lemonade.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
sorry.
just
First of all, can we
Oh.
stop this side argument? Ryan literally just like was dying. and
What do
he
you
was
say? Were you trying to say something?
And
When
he
you're,
was
when you're
just
trying to
when
like
you're
say
trying
something,
to
I know that's
admit
secret.
to some, and he
Admit,
said it a
admit,
million
admit.
times,
what was the
and
word
you
of
guys were
words?
arguing.
What was the word?
Horde. You.
Or
Whore.
I'll go in one.
Gosh.
yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
You couldn't even remember it. We said it earlier.
You're the one who guessed it.
Hey guys, check your phone.
No.
This whole podcast. What a mess of a place. This is insane.
So what do you think?
Wait
Do you
a
think-
minute.
you
I'm
don't-
sorry. Wait.
You don't think there's going to be a lawsuit against Dua Lipa?
There is a lawsuit happening right now.
You don't think
I
she-
think it's not going to come to fruition.
Go ahead.
Yes, Annie.
Never
Go
mind.
ahead. Go
It's
ahead,
gonna.
Annie.
It's stupid. I'm gonna save it for after the podcast. Sorry.
I have a question. Who got this box?
You can't just
Who bought
open
this?
stuff here. All
Yeah, you can. This is free reign.
right.
Whose
sweet.
is this?
Open everything.
Who bought it?
I
If you
believe
had to
it's.
take a wild guess, who do you think that
it's
bought that
it's
box
a-
in the
For
studio?
the listeners, it's a love language
Jordan.
box with cards to ask.
I'm gonna say Jordan.
Your
Here's a rando.
No, I'm
Is this
Kara,
a podcast
They're
thing?
not. A lot of them
They're
are
deep.
not appropriate.
What do you wish we could spend more time on?
Okay,
Come
yeah,
on, that's
it's-
not appropriate.
Well, you should pull another one.
Hey, yeah, don't ask Ryan.
Nice.
Let's see if I can find an
nice.
inappropriate one.
Okay, well,
Go ahead.
See.
Go ahead,
Tell
Annie,
me
say
one
your
thing I
stupid
did
thing.
that this past week that impressed you.
There's like so many things going on at once.
I didn't. So okay,
Good one.
Is there a way that the app sends this?
What do you mean?
The little boxes for
No
Wordle.
way.
So Wordle.
No way you type it out
I
every time.
type it out every single time.
Wait, what?
So Wordle, we have this like group chat where we
Wait,
send.
no. Oh,
Annie,
my
let me show you. Annie.
way.
Annie, let me show you.
Annie, you type.
Let me show you.
Type it out.
Let me show you. Look at. Hey, look. Annie, look. Share. Text message.
No way.
This just in, Annie.
Dude, podcast
Manually-
over.
manually
Podcast
type.
is literally
I
over.
never shared it because I thought it would tell you the word.
No, it doesn't show you the
Literally,
word.
the little boxes are on my mouse used.
You type
I was
out
like,
the Wordle every single time.
how do they know what number
What
it
an
is?
idiot.
Oh
Oh my gosh.
my gosh.
You're totally joking, right? This is
You're
a
dead
bit.
serious.
No, she's crying. She's serious.
You type.
She said, I've got a thing. I'll save it for after.
You
the
were
podcast."
going to bring this up on the podcast?
I was like,
my
how did he
gosh.
type that so fast?
What
so
an
at Wordle,
idiot.
you can send. We would send each other the like boxes,
Annie has tears in her eyes.
the boxes of like how long it took us to get it, and everyone else did it, and I didn't, and I just thought you guys typed them, so I would type them, and
We've
then I
been
had
playing
to
this
find
game
them.
for like months.
I know, and I've been typing them a lot. Why do you think that sometimes I don't send you how long
Oh
it
my
took?
gosh. It literally says share.
I thought it would tell you the word.
Wait.
What the heck is going on?
Cry.
Wow, that is great.
That's the best.
This show is
I-
over,
The
right?
show is absolutely over.
We can end the show with what foreplay do we never do that you'd want to try.
Okay. We'll see you next
There it
week
is.
on
On What the
Podcast.